This is episode 416 of The Amy Ahlers Show. Show notes can be found at amyahlershow.com/416. This is all about taking your business foundation to the next level now with my very special guest, Katz. Let me share a little bit more about Katz is a relational lawyer, entrepreneur, CEO, founder, matriarch, and new economy personal finance expert. She founded 2 companies, one that teaches lawyers how to serve families and business owners in ways that make a real difference in their lives, and another that supports you to be your own best legal and financial advisor first, with right-aligned decision-making around legal, insurance, financial, and tax matters. Allie's work with private clients stands to support the highest and best use of your time, energy, attention, and money resources beyond the disease of money dysmorphia, so you can allocate your resources toward what really matters. And when she's doing her favorite work, she supports families to bridge the gap between the generations with conversations and structures around resources that lead to the highest and best use of family wealth at every level. I am so excited to have Allie on the show. She has been my personal coach, mentor, lawyer, guide in so many different ways over really the last 10 years of my life and my life as a business owner. And I highly recommend that you listen to the show and make sure to download Allie's foundational blueprint just for businesses at amyahlershow.com/legal. And now on with the show. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to have you here, Allie. As you know, you've been my coach, my mentor, my friend, my colleague for so many years. You've seen me through so many iterations of my business, and I'm so excited for everybody that is listening to this podcast right now to get some Katz love today. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And it is true. There's been so many years together, and watching your evolution in life and business has been absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. Well, I am so excited for all of you listening because Allie is going to help us really understand today how to basically get your foundation in order. Whether you are, maybe you're looking at 2021 and you're just about to start a business, like you've had it with the corporate world and you're like, I'm starting my own thing, or maybe you're doing a side hustle, who knows? Or maybe you're on your way to 6 figures, or maybe you're like me and you're in multi-6-figure land, or maybe you're in multi-7 or 8-figure land. No matter where you are, what I know to be true is that you need to have your foundation. And this, I feel like, is something that people avoid in business all the time. You need to have your foundation and basically your shit in order. Excuse my language, but it's true.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, Allie, why do you think people avoid the conversation about these core foundational pieces so much?
I think it's because we just don't know what we don't know. And so, there can be shame, right? There can be, the voice in the head that's saying, you should know this,
right?
You don't, right? And by the way, there is no reason actually you should know it, because how? I went to law school and I didn't know it. I worked at one of the best law firms in the country doing corporate tax, with the transactions that the person who started my law firm I worked with was Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's right-hand lawyer.
Wow.
And I'm working on these big transactions. And yet I didn't know about these business foundations when I went out on my own and started my own business. I've talked to people who went to business school and didn't know. So how would it be that you should know? But because you don't even know how to be having the conversations, I think that it can just, lead to avoidance and not talking about it, not wanting to acknowledge that we don't know.
So one of the gifts we're giving to all of you today during this wonderful time of year of the holiday season, it's our gift to you, is making it so you stop avoiding this.
Yeah.
Let's stop avoiding this. And I find particularly with women, that women really avoid this. I feel like one of 2 things happens. They avoid it altogether and they just continue on and create their business without their foundations in place, or it stops them from building the business at all. Like we'll have people that are like, well, don't I need to have a business license? Do I need an LLC? Do I need, like, when they haven't even made $1 yet? and they're frozen, like it's a trauma response, like freezing in there. So today you're thawing out, and we're going to look at this eyes wide open, which is the name of Allie's community, which I love, and really allow you to look at this. So when we look at the foundations, what are the keys of the business foundations that we all need to have in place?
Yeah. So there's really four. The way that I've come to see this is that there's legal, insurance, financial, and tax foundations. And I was highly avoidant around all of these things myself. I told myself, oh, that's not for me. I'm too small. These don't really apply to me. This just applies to the big businesses. And as a result of that kind of avoidance in my own reality, I was able to build businesses because I'm a big risk taker. And so I learned sales and marketing, and I was able to build my businesses pretty successfully in the first 5 to 7 years. And yet, because I didn't understand these foundations and how they applied to us, I ended up making about $1 million of mistakes along the way, and actually walking away from business altogether. And I never thought that I wanted to teach legal, insurance, financial, and tax foundations until, and this is what's, how women really support each other. I was in a mastermind 10 years ago with, these multi-million-dollar business women. And as I was sharing about my mistakes and how embarrassed I was and how full of shame I felt, because I'm a lawyer and I should know all this,
right.
They all looked at me and they said, my name at the time was Alexis. They said, Alexis, we don't know about those things either. You have to teach this.
Yes.
You have to teach this because we've been building our businesses blindly as well, because we don't know these things. And hey, Alexis, by the way, when you put them all together, it stands for lift, which had not occurred to me before that. And they said, this is about lifting your business and your life to this next level. And so those are the four foundations that nobody's taught us. We can oftentimes go into trauma response around either freeze or oftentimes reaction, and like big conflicts can result, as a result of not understanding these things, or just, the complete avoidance. When you were talking about that, I remember before I understood these systems, I had $1 million business, and every time that I would have a call booked with my bookkeeper, I would cancel the call. And there would be a reason. There's always a good reason that I would cancel the call. Oh, so, an appointment came up, or I got sick, or this happened, or that happened, some emergency.
Right. My kid just threw up. I can't get on that call. It's not going to happen. Right?
Yeah. But really, I was canceling the call because I didn't know what to do on the call.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I was afraid to say it. And I was afraid to look dumb. And I was afraid to feel stupid. And so I would just avoid it and find a reason. And ultimately, doing that kept me stuck at a level of impact that was really limited. And ultimately, I collapsed under the weight of it. And when I rebuilt from the collapse, I realized, oh, I see. It's not that I'm a bad businesswoman. I just actually don't understand these legal, insurance, financial, and tax foundations. And I made a commitment at that time to get this really in-depth knowledge so that I could understand enough for me to be able to go to my next level, but also so that I could explain to folks at any level of their business journey, right? So there's different things that we need at each level.
Right.
When you're just starting out, you don't need to have the same legal, insurance, financial, and tax foundations that you do when you're considering maybe selling your business. And so it's really helpful to be able to really meet yourself where you are, not avoid it, and know the right foundations that you need for each level. Okay, when I'm just starting out, I just need this. And then when I'm ready to break through six figures, now I'm going to need this next level structure. And oh, wow, now I'm starting to, get into the 250 to 500,000 range. And like, maybe I want to go to $1 million a year of revenue. Well, that's the next level. And what's that going to look like? And what are the foundations I'm going to need at that level? And then what I'm learning now and applying in my own businesses is that eventually you start to look at, wow, this business is not just about me. This isn't just a lifestyle business I'm creating a legacy business, and this business is going to be able to continue without me. And then that's an entirely new level of foundations and systems to have in place.
So everyone listening, I want you to, where are you on that continuum that Allie just said? Like, are you just starting out?
Yeah.
What are those things that you have in place right now? Are you, maybe you're a sole proprietor and you don't have maybe you have a DBA doing business as where you have a business name and people can make a check out to you, or maybe you don't even have your business account yet, a business checking account. No matter where you are, first of all, you're in the right place.
That's right.
Allie can help you. And I want to just say that you can go to amyaylershow.com/legal. That's amyaylershow.com/legal. And there you can download Allie's free blueprint, which is basically an ebook to really take you through the basics. And then it leads to a masterclass that she is doing later this week, in the next couple of days here, that I really want to encourage you to do, because obviously during this podcast, we're not going to be able to go as deep as we want to go, but I highly recommend. And I just want to say, when I met Allie, so many of the things were a mess. And I'm happy to say that through the work that I did with Allie, my financials, I have the right financial team in place. I have my bookkeepers, and then I have my tax person who is amazing, that helps me with the finances and also helps me with the taxes. And importantly, my husband and I went in and we finally got our trust set up. And we went to one of Allie's lawyers that she trains in a very specific methodology. And we were blown away by the thoroughness of the process and the heart of this process that this lawyer took us through, so that we know that when we pass on, our kids are set up, which was just so important, and that my business was set up so that my kids could be taken care of. So I cannot recommend Allie highly enough for really going in depth through these processes. So I just had to say that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really, I really love how you have, taken each of these pieces, each step of the way, and gotten them set up so that you can have this foundation beneath you that, as I've seen you continue to bring your work out into the world at the next level, that's really what it takes. It really does take having that structural integrity, that secure foundation, knowing that you're making your decisions in the right way, you're hiring the right advisors. And I think that this is where so many of us just get stuck, because we don't have the language for it.
Right.
And I remember, way back when I got on the phone with you, with the tax advisor that you work with now, and you wouldn't have known what to say to him, what questions to ask, because how would you have known?
Right.
And so what I did in this blueprint, I was telling you before we started, the blueprint was intended to be a one-page overview document of the legal, insurance, financial, and tax systems that everybody needs to have in place. And I couldn't do it as just a one-page document. It wasn't in depth enough. So I ended up making it into a 25-page ebook.
Yeah.
And the ebook is, it's really a blueprint that you create for yourself to look at, okay, where am I now? Where do I want to be 3 years from now? And then through the blueprint, you get to identify your stage of, are you still in your job? Have you got a job and a side hustle? Have you already started your business, but it's still operating like a one-woman show as a practice, and you don't really have your business structures in place? Or are you full on, you're in business now and you do have some business structures in place? Or are you really starting to look at harvest? turning that business into a company. And so depending on where you are right now, then I've identified, this list for you, really a checklist of what are you going to get in place next year so that you're able to go from where you are now to your next level and have that structural integrity. And, here's what's amazing. Back in 2003, when I was first starting out in business, and I knew nothing about business whatsoever. I was just a lawyer in practice, and my kids were little, and it was all dependent on me. I was the breadwinner, and my husband was staying at home with them. And I met a mentor at that time who took me through this 3-year strategic visioning process, which I do teach as part of all of this as well, because it made such a huge impact in my life. And everything that we put on that 3-year plan for that, okay, that's going to happen in the future. But as a result of this process, and I do walk folks through it in the blueprint, happened in 1 year. In 1 year. Yeah. And here's what was amazing about it. I didn't even necessarily feel as if I was trying to make that happen. It was that I got clear on where I was going. And then I started making my decisions. Instead of from where I was able to start making decisions from where I was going. And that's what I see about so many of these foundations, because many of us will say to ourselves, oh, I'm too small for that. Oh, I'm not ready for that. Oh, I don't need that yet. But that's what keeps us where we are.
I just really want to highlight what you just said, and I want everyone listening to write this down. Mm-hmm. Make decisions for where you are going, not from where you are.
Yep.
And, I think this is so true when, looking at my own business and the business journey that I've been on and the adventure of being in business for 20 years now, and through so many iterations and so many different income levels. And so some years of nearing that 7-figure mark, and some years where I'm like, what the hell happened this year? I don't know. But it's like there is this way that we continue to play small by making decisions from the place that we are instead of where we want to be. And same thing with team, of going, okay, the team that I have now is perfect for the size that I am, which is great if you want to stay at that revenue level and the size that you are. Yeah. But if you want to grow and expand, and if 2021 is a year of expansion, which not every year is, by the way, everyone, I really want to make that clear. The last 2 years for me have not been years of expansion. I had other focuses that needed my attention and love. 2021 is going to be a year of expansion. I can feel it. So I need to start looking at the team. I need to start looking at the legal, the insurance, the financials, the taxes of where I think I'm going to be by the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm really excited for you to work your way through the blueprint as well, Amy.
Me too.
There is I can feel that. I can feel you calling in that next level, which requires the next level of those foundations and that structural integrity. And, I remember, again, back to, probably 2005 now, and I was just on the verge, I could see 7 figures at that point in my practice. And that's when I heard these words come out of Mark Cuban's mouth. I was listening to a podcast, and he said, you have to make your decisions from where you want to be, not from where you are now. So if you want to have a 7-figure business, look at whether you're making your decisions as a 7-figure business owner or as a 6-figure business owner. And this was really specific for me. Where it hit home was in this issue around bookkeeping and accounting. And I remember at that time, it just came right into clarity. Oh, I'm trying to save as much money as I can on bookkeeping and accounting. That was the area that was so in my face at that time. I'm trying to save money there. And I'm making my decisions about who I'm working with from this place of $100,000 business owner instead of as $1 million business owner. So I was able to see it really clearly. Okay, I need to do something different. The problem was I didn't know what that different thing was, because I didn't have any concept of how a $1 million business owner even makes these decisions. Who do I need to be working with? What are the right questions for me to be asking them? So I got it in me. Okay, yes, I want to start making my decisions as a $1 million business owner, but what does that even look like? And so eventually I did, muddle my way through, and cost me about $1 million, as I think, Amy, to, figure out the answers the very hard and painful way. But that's really what I'm wanting to, we don't have time, frankly. We just don't have time right now for everybody to take the 10 years it took me and to make, or the money, to make the $1 million of mistakes. And that is exactly why that blueprint turned from a one pager into a 25-page document, so that I could really lay it all out in depth, without trying to just give this big picture overview, but really letting you be able to see, okay, in order for me to get from where I am now, here's what it looks like to be making these decisions as whatever that next level is for you, whether it is leaving the job and starting your own business, or and doing it where you're not just all of a sudden one day going to get pissed and quit,
right?
But actually having a plan and doing it with care and consideration for wherever you're currently working and for what you want to create, because how we end one thing is how the next thing starts. And so we want to do that not from a place of reaction, but really, with responsibility, which I consider, by the way, I used to have this, kind of love-hate relationship with that word responsibility, but now I just see it as ability to respond. The ability to respond to whatever comes your way. Or if you are really looking at, okay, I know I have a service that's great. People want what I have, and I need to figure out how to offer it in, this way where it's systematized, it's able to deliver on outcomes, consistently. I like to deliver on it with the support of a team, and I have plenty of time to do that. Or if you are going to that 7-figure level and you're realizing, okay, I have to say, by the way, and so many people want to go to $1 million, and in some ways, having a $1 million business can be the hardest place to be. Mm-hmm. That's been my experience over the years, that it's this funny in-between place, this $1 million business, where you're making lots of money, and yet without the foundations in place and the right team and everything organized in the right way, you're just going to be working really, really hard and not keeping the money that you're making.
I love that you're saying that, because, I have so many wonderful colleagues that I've witnessed on the journey, and then myself in my own journey. And not everyone's supposed to have a multi-million-dollar business or even $1 million business. Yeah. And it takes a very specific type of person, I think, to go to that 7-figure level where they're going to be joyful when they get there and when they arrive there. And having $1 million business, remember, everyone listening, people are just talking about top line revenue. They're not talking about how much they're personally taking home.
That's right.
And it's the same thing when people are like, oh, we had a $400,000 launch. I'm like, awesome. And how much did your company keep? Let's talk about the true numbers here. And this is like the dirty little secret of the online marketing world, is everyone's bragging about their top line revenue. And then when it comes down to it, that $400,000 launch might have meant that their company made 50 grand.
Yeah.
And so was it better to have a $400,000 launch where you're keeping 50 grand? Maybe, because maybe you wanted that level of impact. You wanted that many people in your community to get your work. That might be a wonderful reason to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Or it might have been, actually, it would have been much better to have a $75,000 launch and keep 50 grand and not have to have the foundations in place to support that $400,000 launch. Right.
Yeah, it's so dependent on what exactly you're building for and being able to do that eyes wide open. These are the things that I just totally didn't understand. Again, because nobody was modeling that for me. Nobody even showed me the range of options, and so I just figured it out with a lot of confusion, I would say, a lot of spinning around, a lot of like, wait, that wasn't how it was supposed to be.
Right.
And so, when we in fact look at what's happening in our online business community right now, and, I've gotten to see behind the scenes in a lot of people's businesses over the years because I have gotten to work as a trusted advisor in these businesses. And, what I have seen is that if we're just looking at what's going on or appears to be going on the outside, and we're building our businesses and making decisions based on that without really getting to see what's going on behind the scenes, oftentimes we are going to make the wrong decisions because we don't have that internal alignment to know, okay, how is this really going to impact? And so I see this oftentimes split, Amy, into, are you building a lifestyle business or are you building a legacy business? And that can change over time.
Yeah.
But, certainly can change over time. But a lifestyle business is a business that can pay you exactly what you need to be making and can support your lifestyle. And that is fantastic. And it's going to require a different level of team and different investments. And in that case, you might want to be making your decisions to optimize for profit, because it's all about the cash flow. It's all about the business supporting you. But that business is not going to continue on without you. And that is 100% fine. I want to make that absolutely clear. Nothing at all wrong with having a business that's not going to continue on without you, as long as you're making your decisions in alignment with having a lifestyle business. But I hear a lot of folks say, well, I want to have a legacy business. I want to have a business and I want my work to be able to continue on without me. Well, those are a whole different set of questions and things that you're building towards. In fact, if you're building a legacy business, which I've been doing now over the past 3-4 years, really with my eyes wide open, you're not necessarily going to be optimizing for profit. Yes, you still want to be taking out of your company, getting paid in the right way, and taking out of your company strategically, organizing it in such a way where you're minimizing taxes, exactly what you need to be taking out, because the business, of course, has to support you at a foundational level. If your business is not supporting you, you are not going to be able to make good financial decisions about who you hire for your team, about how you pay people. You're going to feel constantly, stressed and in this, scarcity, survival-based decision making. So that's not good. But when you're building a legacy business, you're actually in those years not optimizing for profit. You're actually optimizing for infrastructure. So you're going to be putting a whole lot back into that business. And you're taking out what you need in a tax advantaged way. You're set up on payroll and, everything that you're doing is from a tax advantage standpoint. But you're not taking out profit during those years that you're really building the infrastructure for a legacy business. So, just to give you a peek behind the scenes in my own business, and this is a big deal for me, actually. I had always been building my business for lifestyle, but I didn't realize that's what I was doing. But that's just what I had learned. That's what I had seen modeled for me. And a few years ago, I decided I wanted to start thinking about maybe selling my business. And, I had been doing this for 10 years already. My business was making a couple million a year of revenue. Half of it was recurring revenue. I figured I've got to have a saleable asset here.
Right.
Gotta have a saleable asset here, right?
Right, of course.
So I've put so much into it, and it's got all these, assets of intellectual property and, recurring revenue. I think I've done it right. Well, I get the valuation back and it's $250,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Wow.
If you want to sell this business, you could sell it for $250,000. And I was like, what? And, there's a guy in our industry actually who teaches people how to buy businesses for no money down. And the reason that he's able to teach how to buy a business for no money down is because actually most business owners don't know how to create their business so that it actually has value. And so I certainly didn't, I didn't know because I didn't see what that next level was. And so it was pretty depressing, but I made the decision to say, okay, no, I'm going to learn here. I'm going to learn how to create value in my company. And I can see, there's next level: legal, insurance, financial, and tax foundations. I have gotten my business to the point where, it has the level that it could get me to this couple million of revenue and, have recurring revenue and have, a great business and a great, team to some degree. But there's this next level. So I did it over the past 3 years. I focused all of my time, energy, attention, and money here in this other business that I have that, really is my legacy work in many ways, or an aspect of my legacy work in many ways. And you mentioned, training the lawyers, and that's what that business does. It trains the lawyers in my systems and processes. And Amy, we just got back our valuation a few weeks ago, and I did not expect this. I have a COO now there, and my COO said, "Okay, I've been holding this from you, and I'm so excited to show it to you." And he sent me the valuation, and it was $15,745,000.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay. So that's the power of legacy building business and of focusing on the right thing.
On the right things. Yeah. Yeah. And knowing the right questions to ask, and knowing the right, advisors to hire and how to do the hiring. And it's really, it's actually still settling into my system, and, what this gets to mean for the future in terms of, my ability to know that this business will be able to live on without me. And, what I really want to say about this is that at each stage, it's critical for you to know where you're going next. It's critical for you to be able to see out into that future, hold that vision, be right where you are. Because again, what Amy said is absolutely true. Wherever you are right now is exactly the perfect place.
So I want to remind everyone, as we wrap up this conversation here, to go to amyailershow.com/legal, grab Allie's incredible blueprint ebook, attend her masterclass, get your business foundations in place. Now is the perfect time of year to do it, because first of all, you'll save on taxes if you follow Allie's system, because I know I personally have done that every single year. So she has so many good nuggets to share with you about that.
Well, and Amy, let me say just real quick, the very last page of the blueprint gives you the script, no matter where you are in business right now, gives you the exact script to use with your CPA this week. Like you really have this week to use this script so you can organize your affairs this year and pay less next year. So I give you the exact script, exactly what to say, to be able to figure out what you need to do. And that's the last page of the blueprint.
Awesome. Okay. So I know everyone listening is going to go do that. amyailershow.com/legal. Links are in the show notes, of course. Allie, last question for you that I ask all my guests.
Sure.
What's messy and what's magical about your life these days?
Oh my goodness. I would say that what is messy is I'm in an intimate relationship that is got me at my edge, and in all the best ways. Like I feel like I'm really learning what intimacy is in my personal relationship at a level that is new for me. And I thought that I was really, on the cutting edge of personal relationships, and wow, this one is showing me actually how conflict is such a gift. It is such a gift when we have it does go back to foundations, when we have, the safety to actually be able to be in conflict. in a
I
really
love
healthy
that.
way. And so that's a little bit messy. And what is magical is I am in such deep trust of life in a
Amazing.
way, that I have,
Wow.
that I have never really been at a level. I could kind of always see how life had my back, even and in the hardest times. I would come back to this knowing, okay, I know this is all going to work out if I just keep showing up as like the best person I can be and be willing to grow and willing to see where I have to grow. I know it's all going to work out. But there was definitely some times where I was like, is it really all going to work out? I don't know. Maybe I messed it up too far beyond repair. But now having the benefit of hindsight through all of that and just seeing where I am now, and believe me, not everything is, it's all, still in process, because I think it always is. But what is different now, and the magic, is having that deep grounded knowing, oh, life really has my back. Life really has all of our backs. And when we can surrender into the trust of knowing that, and then again, make our decisions from this question of, okay, if I really knew that life had my back and that all I needed to do was keep looking at what life is guiding me towards next, so that I can do my best work in the world, show up for, who I am, why I'm here, and what's mine to do, that it all works out, what would you do differently? And that's how I'm leading my life now. And it's working.
I love that. I love that, Allie. And I feel like after the year that all of us have had with so much going on in the world, I love that you have that deep trust, and I'm infusing that through the sound waves here into the hearts of every listener, into my heart as well, knowing and trusting that life has your back. So thank you so much, Allie, for being here. And to all of you listening, thank you so much for listening. The next episode will be my final episode of the year, and I'm going to take you through a very special completion ritual for the entire year so that you can begin 2021 with a clean slate. So stay tuned for that and keep embracing the messiness and the magic of life.